Hello and welcome back to our final video for our Motivation, Emotion, Stress, and Health unit, looking at stress. So let's go ahead and talk about what stress is, what it does to us, and how can we help reduce the amount of stress that we experience on a regular basis. A recent survey of college students said that 85% of students experienced stress in the last 3 months, most of whom said it disrupted their schoolwork at least once. I want you to ask yourself, how do you compare to this study? Do you fall into that category, or do you feel like you live a relatively stress-free life? Chances are 85% means most of us are experiencing stress on a pretty regular basis as well. And so it's important to think about what stress is and what stress does. And stress is not inherently a bad thing. It's not exactly an emotion. It's more of a psychological and physiological state. Now, stress can be good. It can prepare us, it can motivate us, it can energize us. And so when we actually change our mindset about stress, it can actually change the way that it physically reacts in our body. But long-term stress, chronic stress, can have some detrimental effects. And there are a variety of stressors. Everything from catastrophes to significant life changes to the daily stressors that we experience on a day-to-day basis. How we respond to stress could also be a result of our personality type. We have what are known as type A and type B personalities. Those who are competitive and anger prone, or those who are more easygoing and relaxed. And so our personality type can also indicate how we react to stress. But there's more to the research than just stress is bad. There is such thing as our stress mindset. How we view stress can change how stress responds physiologically in our body. But as we said before, chronic stress seems to be where our challenge lies. Hans Selye came up with a general adaptation syndrome to explain what stress does long-term to us physically. He said that we go through 3 major phases when experiencing stress: alarm, resistance, and exhaustion. Alarm is where our heart rate increases and our body prepares to mobilize. Resistance is where our body fights back against the stress. Adrenaline pumps in our system and our body prepares to resist. And exhaustion is what happens if we don't have a break from the resistance phase. Continuing on for a long period of time without any relief of that stress is where exhaustion could set in. If there is no relief, then our resources run out and our body becomes more susceptible to illnesses. And this is why stress relief techniques are so important, especially if you are dealing with chronic stress. There are ways to combat it to allow ourselves rest in between our resistance phases. Psychologists who study the susceptibility of illness that we are prone to when faced with chronic stress and little relief study what's known as psychoneuroimmunology. And that is a field of study that looks at the psychological and neurological effects on health. There are also psychophysiological related illnesses, and those are stress-related illnesses that could develop. Those could be things like headaches, tension, or hypertension that comes as a result of chronic stress. Studies on stress and the chronically ill show that stress may predict a faster decline, and it may be more difficult for the body to fight off infections. But again, that is why stress relief is so important when dealing with chronic stress or chronic stressors. When dealing with stress, you may have heard of the fight or flight response. We talked about it in our neuroscience unit as being a reaction of our hypothalamus in those times of stress. But there's also another type of response known as tend and befriend. Because not only does stress release things like adrenaline into our bloodstream, it also releases oxytocin, or the cuddle hormone, the hormone that's released in bonding and love. That when we look for social support in times of stress, it can actually help strengthen relationships. So that is one of the benefits that we might experience when dealing with stress. So if you are dealing with constant stress, there are some tips for stress reduction that you can use that can help give your body that relief or rest in between resistance phases to prevent running into exhaustion. Some of them include engaging in activities related to self-care. Anything that you do that takes care of yourself, whether it is sleep, engaging in activities that you enjoy. As Tend and Befriend tells us, spending time with friends and family and seeking out social support is a great tip for stress relief. Finding ways to laugh, whether you're watching comedy on TV or movies, or laughing with friends and family. It is a great stress relief tool. Exercise and sleep are two of the biggest things that we can do to help reduce stress as well as mindfulness and meditation. Taking breaks to breathe or to journal or to refocus can be really beneficial to helping reduce the amount of stress that we're feeling as well. So the next time you're feeling stressed, try some stress reduction techniques, see which ones are helpful for you, and try to incorporate them into your life on a daily basis. That's where we'll go ahead and end this unit. By now we've taken a look at what motivates us, why we experience the emotions that we do, and the potential benefits, and some ways to help us deal with the stress that we experience on a regular basis. I hope this was useful for you and gave you a better insight into understanding all of the different factors that make you who you are. So thank you so much for watching, and as always remember, be kind to your mind.